Good morning, world.
Good morning.
Hey, Cedric, you remember when they were talking about the Oscars and how they needed to be more diverse and they had to represent more of the LGBT,
Yes.
more people of
Yes.
color?
Yep, I remember that well.
So I thought we need to take that into the sports world.
Oh, jeez.
So I think we should talk about that.
That means I work on my downhill skiing and my slalom,
Your beach volleyball.
my beach volleyball. Stay tuned. I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian, and this is Cedric and Brian. All right, Cedric, so outside of the Oscars, whenever you turn on ESPN, you also hear about how they need more owners in the NBA and the NFL of color, coaches, all that, right?
It's always a hot topic.
Yeah. So I think we need to take it to its extreme. It's extreme, to take it all the way.
Okay.
So if you have to have a certain amount of people in a lead role for the Oscars, right? You have to have, I think it was you had to have at least one lead character.
Right. Yes.
But here's what I don't understand. Did you watch, what was that Tom Hanks movie where he got lost, where he got crashed and he was by himself?
Oh, the Wilson,
Yeah.
the volleyball. Oh, wow.
Yeah, what was that called? Not Rescue.
Jeez.
Anyway, you tell us what the name of that movie was. We're having our senior moments here. But that movie was basically one person the whole time.
Yes.
And it was a white guy.
Right.
So how are you going to be diverse in that? And his wife was in it at the end.
Right. Anything about the Will Smith movie where the apocalypse happened and he was by himself with his imaginary dog. He was just a one-man show.
Yeah. So it's kind of silly.
Right.
That you have to have that. And they talked about Dunkirk, which was all about Germany and World War II and England and all that. So how are you supposed to fit these quotas?
Well, we're going to take a comical look at that. So you guys stay tuned. We're going to take a comical look at that. And like I said, we're going to look at the world of sports and make sure everything is numerically correct or percentage-wise correct in the world of sports.
All right, so let's start. We have to come from a consensus, okay? So I know I sent you a thing from the Census Bureau. And give me the breakdown of the U.S. population.
76% of the U.S. population is white. And we've shared this number numerous times before. 13% of the U.S. population is black. Mm-hmm. Another 1.3% is American Indian, and 5.3% is Asian. 0.2 is Native American, and 2.5 is biracial or two or more races.
Okay, and then they put one more on there for a different white category.
White alone, not Hispanic or Latino. Oh, that's 60%.
Yeah, so...
Oh, geez, okay.
So I guess in the first white, they're including people that consider themselves white but are probably Cuban or something.
Right.
So anyway, so those numbers, I don't feel bad that they didn't even include the Jewish population.
They didn't include the Jewish population.
But I guess they don't consider us a race or I don't know. We get thrown into different pots.
Yes.
But I guess we're close to the Asian population, I think. So the Asians were like 5%.
Right.
Okay, so that's the basis of what we're going to go on. So we're going to make it simple. We'll just, since Cedric is black and I'm, for all purposes, I'm white.
For the purpose of this video, Brian is white.
So, excuse me, COVID. I'm kidding.
Wow.
So let's go. I found this. So this is the racial breakdown in the NBA. So and I'll put this right up on the screen here. So for players, you can see that pink line, that's the African American. Cedric calls it the black.
Yes.
Because some of them may, like when we go to running and stuff, they might be Jamaican.
Right.
But I digress. Right. So we'll use their terms. So you've got the biggest proportion of players in the NBA are African American. White is second, but it's very small, as you see. And then you have the other Latinos, Asian, very, 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 very small at the end. So it looks like about 20%. Is that the numbers you got before, 20%?
Yeah, I got 81% black.
18%
white.
Okay, so 18%. Yeah. So that's about what this graph is. Then the league office, you can see a lot more whites in the league office there. So that looks like it's around 65, 70%. So at the league office, it kind of mirrors what we saw of the census of the U.S. So if we're doing it to be a melting pot or to coincide with the population, so it looks like the league office is closer to what the demographics of the United States is. So if you see that, looks like African Americans there, about 15%. So it's about 15%. So the league office seems to follow the woke crowd, right?
Right, and we'll touch on this soon, I'm sure. Hopefully these people are being hired based on their criteria, their skill,
Yeah.
and not because they fit a certain demographic position.
Then you go to head coaches, and head coaches now look like you're closer to maybe 20% African American head coaches. So that's above the 13.5% in the population. Then you go to CEO and president, and that's when there's just not quite enough African Americans.
Right.
It looks like maybe 10%, so we need to bump that up about 3%. Okay, because we got to be fair, right?
Okay.
But so that's where we've been. That's where I hit Cedric with. So that first category, players. My people are way underrepresented. Now, if we're not going by skill, because according to the Academy
Right.
of Motion Pictures, it's not about how good of an actor you are. You have to have that percentage to represent the United States.
You touch on so many topics, gay, lesbian.
Yeah. Well, let's not even get that. It's just going to muddy the water. So let's just stick with, like we said, we're going to stick with black and white.
Okay. All right. We'll stick with that.
So in the NBA, we have to get rid of some of those black players to make it more representative of the country as a whole.
Right.
Right?
But if you're not, what are we
going to do with those players? Because they're good athletes.
I meant to send them overseas.
Well, what was my suggestion? Beach volleyball. Way underrepresented in the same skill set, right? Because they're tall.
Tall.
You have to
a lot of jumping.
Yep.
Okay.
So I think we need to take some of those beach volleyball players, and they have to go to the NBA, and some of those NBA players have to go to beach volleyball.
Do you think they'll go for that?
I think that fits the narrative.
Right.
I think that's what. Let us know what you think. But I think if we're going to do what the left wants us to do, and we have to have representative populace, throughout. Because in Sweden, they make sure that the women and men are in the same workforce.
Yes.
They have to be proportional. So we're trying to follow that here, but we're doing it with race here, because race is a very hot topic.
Very hot.
As you've seen in our channel for the last 8 months.
Yes.
So we're trying to figure out, we're trying to heal the world, people. We're trying to heal the world.
We're just doing what the left wants us to do. Playing along.
So that's his sport. My sport's football. Now your numbers over here, it's 70% black in football. Mm-hmm. That's way above the 13.5% or 13%.
Way above. Yeah.
So
we gotta even that out.
Yeah. And that's actually even, we'll just go with straight numbers, 13%. Because then what's like 7% male, but we'll go with that. So 13%. So there's 28% white. Way underrepresented. We're supposed to be up near 70.
Right.
So, and I understand what you're going to say. They're going by the best players. The best players happen to be black.
Which should be on the field of competition as it should be in the workplace.
I know, and in acting and all of that, right?
Right.
But that's not what we're doing anymore. So we have to follow the model. So again, what has the skill set of football players that we can take and move some of the African Americans over and then move some of the white into the NFL? What are we going to do?
They would take some of the black football players and what's similar sport? Move them over to hockey.
Okay, yeah, I can see that. It's a team sport.
There's a lot of
contact.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So we've got to take some of the white hockey players, bring them to the NFL. Okay, hey, we're solving.
We got to balance this out.
We're solving it.
We're here to solve the problem, one sport at a time.
Yeah, and then we got baseball, right?
Yes.
We're just going to take the big three, I guess. So baseball only is 7% black.
Yeah.
So they need another 6% in baseball. So, and white's
57%.
Hispanic is way overrepresented in baseball. There's 31% Hispanic baseball players. And what did you say the Hispanic is only how much of the population? 18%. Right?
Again, that is only...
I think it's 18. If I recall.
18%.
Yeah.
Yep.
So we got some fixing to do in baseball.
Yeah, it's going to take a while.
Yeah, so leave us in the comments where we need to shift the Hispanics from baseball into a different sport. Well, there's not enough Hispanics in basketball or football.
Right.
So we're going to have to take some of the bigger baseball players and maybe put them into football, some of the taller ones, and bring them into basketball.
Yep.
So we got to even this out a little bit. So whites, again, underrepresented in baseball even.
Hopefully you guys are catching on to the silliness of this, because Brian and I are mulling this over, because it's going to go back to what I said before. Do you qualify? Are you good enough? Are you best enough? And like Brian said before, it should be the same way in acting. The Screen Actors Guild shouldn't put this. I don't think it's the Screen Actors Guild. It's just Hollywood in general.
It's the Academy.
The Academy.
Academy of Motion Pictures.
So you have to address certain issues and you have to represent a certain community. It's like, I want to go to the movies to be entertained. And if the best actor is Tom Hanks, or the best actor is Will Smith, or the late great Robin Williams, then they should be in that starring role.
Yeah, and for that part. And if you're doing, we grew up, we watched a miniseries called Roots.
Great movie.
Okay, now are we going to have 70% white in that and 13% black? And it was basically about the experience of Kunta Kinte.
Right.
And his family and all that. So you had to have the proportion to fit the story, not the proportion to fit whatever was going on in society. Right. So this is just silly. So I take this because this is where, like Cedric says, it seems if you're going to go by numbers, then there's black privilege in the NBA.
Big time.
So it's not the fact that they're better players.
Right.
It's privilege.
It's privilege.
So it's not the fact that maybe in other fields there might be women that are better.
Right.
It's privilege.
Right. And I'm sure this is kind of an old story, maybe a week old. I'm sure you guys also saw that story about the historical landmark game where there was an all-black referee crowd in the NFL game.
Yeah. So that was the Rams Tampa Bay game.
Oh yeah, you're Rams.
Yeah, they won that game.
Yeah,
last week. But anyway, yeah. So Cedric goes. I think he texted me. He goes, "Is there a reason for this?"
Because whether you're black or white, whatever, and the referees, it's a human element. They make mistakes. They make great calls and they make bad calls. Whether they're black or white is irrelevant.
But in 2020, it's all about virtual signaling and all about race. So
I told Brian jokingly, if they don't make news in the NFL, give me an all-white cornerback and defensive back squad. That would be news.
Exactly. The reason we're talking about this is because it looks like possibly Joe Biden is going to be the president, and he's already picked these people that have been in, how do they say it on the news? Oh, they've been public servants. No, they've been in politics their whole lives. Right. They don't know anything but politics. They're part of the swamp. And some of the things that Joe Biden wants to do is this whole equality of outcome stuff, the AOC stuff.
Well, to be fair, I mean, Joe's just trying to put his best foot forward. Oh, wait, that's been sprained. Poor Joe. He's falling apart already.
I know, jeez. But we brought this up because when I heard that Academy Awards thing, a few months ago, I thought, oh my God. But you expect that from Hollywood. But we thought, let's take it to the nth degree. Let's talk about sports. We got to even out all the sports to represent whatever the makeup is for the ethno makeup of the country, which is just silly. When you're in business, and these are all businesses, and in life in general, you want the best person to perform the job at hand. Whether it's sports, whether it's brain surgery, if you're going in because of a heart attack, I don't care if the person's straight, gay, transgender, woman, men, black, white, Indian, it doesn't matter. Do they know how to save my life? That's it. And when you start putting people now, if they're going to do that in hospitals too, it's like, okay, we have to have a certain amount of this race and a certain amount of this. You have to have a certain amount of gays. So, and then in football, if we're going to take it to there, the LGBT community is huge now in the woke community. So is there going to have to be, I think there's 4%, well, that would be men and women. So let's say 2% gay men. So you're going to have 2% of gay people and 0.03% transgender, however you're going to work those numbers out.
There's too many terrible jokes running through my mind right now.
It's just, we've got to stop this. We've got to stop this.
Yeah. Yeah, like Brian, so you just want the best for the job. I mean, as a weekend warrior myself, when I turn on sports on the weekend, I want to see the best product that they put on the field or on the court. I don't want someone that's been handed a position just because they need to fill some type of criteria.
Yeah. And in some sports, because people always say, oh, why does the NBA not, or WNBA not get paid as much as the NBA? They don't have the eyes. You get paid for people watching. But when you come to gymnastics, more people watch women's gymnastics than men's gymnastics. So they'll get more accolades. So there's different sports that get better eyes. And it's just the way it is. Yeah. You can't force things.
Yeah,
you can't make people think.
Yep, bring the money in.
Yeah.
Like I said before, we were joking about this. We wanted to be kind of lighthearted about it, but it is a serious topic where, as we enter this era of wokeness and get deeper and deeper into it, and there's really no sign of it slowing down.
No. No, so I think we really need to implement that, especially in the NBA and the NFL, because no, I'm kidding.
Don't do that. Don't do that.
Well, you know what? New England had a lot of white people on that team.
They did.
and remember the Celtics.
That's Boston, the Celtics.
It must be something about New England. Bunch of racists in New England.
But I mean, I'll say this real quick. I mean, the Celtics back in the 80s, you couldn't say anything about Larry Bird and Kevin McHale. They were bad. And when I say bad, I mean good. They were ballers,
Yeah.
regardless of their skin color. But that's what it should be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And who's that little, who's that guy from Europe right now who's really good?
Oh my God, he plays for Dallas.
Yeah.
Luka Doncic.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yes, he's a baller.
But he always says that when he goes, yeah, but they're not American. Whenever I mention a good white basketball player,
Because
they're not American.
American white guys are focusing on baseball and hockey and soccer and things like that. You gravitate towards certain things. And I guess lacrosse now.
Oh, we can throw that in the mix.
Yeah.
Start making sure those all fit. Although lacrosse is a Native American sport.
Right. Right. Anyway.
All right.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Leave some comments in the comment section. Again, don't be triggered. Don't get upset. We're having fun with this. And we hope it doesn't go that route. I hope you guys feel the same way, that you want to see the best product out there. As Brian just said, if you have to go in for heart surgery, you want the best person, male or female, regardless of race or ethnicity, for the job. Regardless of what they're doing. They went to the best schooling, and they're the best for the job. So, yeah, we'll call it a wrap with that.
All right. Leave it in the comments what you think. Should we equal out the NBA and the NFL and Major League Baseball and make sure that everybody's represented on the same percentage that we are in the United States?
Yes.
And then I don't know what you do with the Canadian teams, because there's Canadian baseball, Canadian hockey, so I don't know what their percentages is. I have a feeling it's much whiter up there.
Yeah, I have a strong feeling it is.
Whereas a lot of the people we watch now, white.
White.
I don't know what white. I guess you pronounce the H before the W.
Yes,
White.
indeed. Well, you guys, hope you like this video. Make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you ring that bell, and make sure you share this video with everyone you know. Until next time, I'm Cedric.
And I'm Brian. See you later.